Hello and welcome to this session on how to address prior habits in your playing. My name is Barbara Heilmar. I teach clarinet at the Portland State University in Oregon, and I hope you will find this presentation useful. I have asked some of my students and some of the players that I know here in the community what they think their habits are, or what habits in clarinet playing are, and I've received some very interesting answers. And above all, I've realized that it is not always easy to identify good and bad habits and what exactly are habits. So some habits, as I would say, habits occur in all areas of playing, and you will see those on the slideshow in a second. So everything that is involving tone production, technique, articulation, phrasing, and whatnot, everything is based on habits, how we are producing that. And you can have a picture that is less complete and where you simply need more information to actually detect a habit. How do you find that you're having a habit? So a habit is really different from something that you're actually working on, let's say an area of improvement. When you're saying, I'm practicing today to increase the speed on this and this run. Or I'm practicing today to really sustain my air support in this and this phrase. So there you're looking at a progress, and of course something is going to be changing and you're learning. If it's about a habit, then it's something that you want to address, and you want it. So we're now talking about bad habits as something that you want to not come back in this form. So to identify it, you should really analyze it and see what is your reason that you're looking for a change. Maybe you have received feedback. Maybe you yourself realize there are some hindrances to playing the way you want. Maybe you have heard a recording of yourself and realize, this doesn't sound like I thought it would sound, or how I would like it to sound. So there are some motivational points for you to look to change something. Looking at this list, you see that your habits can really occur in all areas of playing, from air speed through embouchure, tongue placement, finger technique, over breathing, posture, equipment, and even actually your practice approach and the concepts that you have. So it's important that you get specific about these and that you realize in which areas they are happening, and especially in the areas of posture, breathing, and practice approach. There's a multitude of possibilities for having habits. So I encourage you to take a good look, and once you know what your habit is, to go ahead and address it. David.
Barbara.
What do you think is a habit on the clarinet?
A good habit or a bad habit?
Oh, so there are two kinds?
You betcha.
Tell me about both.
Oh, Lord. Well, a bad habit is posture, and the placement of your mouthpiece for the embouchure, the best embouchure you can get out of it.
Do you have any good or bad habits? What do you think?
I don't know if it's a habit, but I know when things are going well and I get something right, I have a real rush of inner happiness.
Great.
Which kind of feeds itself.
So that itself could also be a habit, to go with your emotions.
to keep that spirit as opposed to getting down, depressed, angry, frustrated, anxious.
Very interesting. I don't think I've looked at this type of habit enough to really work with your emotions.
That depends on the person's personal history. And if they bring that kind of baggage, regardless of where they are, what they do, those habits to always downplay things, to look at the darker side, the cup half empty, regardless of what they put in front of you, if that's their core, then that's a habit that's just going to pop up.
Wow, very interesting. So,
and it gets in your way of both rehearsing and performing.
So the whole perspective on evaluating one's playing, big topic, of course, yeah. And then, so in terms of how you're doing something, do you think you have some good habits? So habit is something that we do repeatedly and often, right? And over a relatively long time.
I'm not sure what it would be if I did. I'm sure there's a good habit in there somewhere.
I would say your air support.
Okay, now you're getting into technical part of it. And that's something.
But if you feel that habits are more ornamental, that they are not technical, then there's a good moment because they can be.
I'm sure there are some habits that are technical, but not being aware of them can be a blessing because you're not focused on some things as you're playing.
Yes, so
an outside observer like you saying, yes, you do this well, it's like, oh, okay.
That is very interesting because a big part of what I've been looking at lately with the topic of habits was to be able to be aware of them as a key point to make some changes. But yes, just a moment, please. But I know that sometimes you don't want to be in the analytical mode and think about things to the point that your playing disintegrates. That is not the idea.
Right.
So sometimes not thinking about it or not being fully aware in that moment can be helpful. Overall, it would be also, I think, kind of reassuring to think, okay, now I've worked, I have a really good foundation. Then from what I see and based on the feedback, my playing is based on what we would consider good habits. I think it could be something just to know about it.
And with time, it becomes more and more habitually good. But in the beginning, when you're trying to absorb this, absorb that, think about, then it can get in the way of just producing.
Of course. So yes, so a mindset is a big point. Yeah.
Habitually creating habits is a good thing.
Yes. Anyway, thank you for your time on this. So, in essence, I would say these are the steps to overcome prior bad habits. Choose one problem area at a time and make sure that your approach is really up to date with recent methods and materials and, of course, inspiration, and decide to address it. And overall, you should consider this a learning process. So you're moving towards something new, you're making changes towards a new version rather than trying to undo something. In other words, focus on the new thing than on the old way of doing it. And then it's a good idea to choose a learning method that works for you. Find out, if you don't know that yet, what kind of a learner you are, if you're connected more with visual prompts, or if you're more an audio learner. It's really good to know what your inclinations are to learn best. Choose a good time of the day when you feel fresh, and also find an approach that you can connect with when you're getting coached or you're giving yourself some prompts. There are do instructions when you say tighten your lip, for example, tighten your lower lip or something like that. Or there are awareness instructions. Feel the pressure on the teeth, for example, or feel the resistance of the air. So these are awareness exercises or instructions that can be really helpful, and it is a good idea to focus on one or the other and switch things around. Lastly, I recommend to approach your problem areas with a holistic perspective. Especially technique improves when you involve other principles such as good posture or principles of efficient movement. Also, of course, the more you're thinking about the music and musical concepts, note grouping, how you want it to really sound, then the mind translates it more towards the body. So this body-mind connection is really important. That's what I mean by a holistic perspective. Include other areas as much as possible into what you're learning. That includes definitely other areas while working on one. More specifically, for example, air support. A good air support really is necessary and helps with articulation. So it may be that you have to work on a surrounding factor to really address one area. And then the big suggestion really is only practice the new version. Don't revisit the old way of doing things, and especially don't repeat it or try if the old one is still there. Just focus on the new one. With everything, I wish you good luck, and I hope you can enjoy your progress and overcome these prior habits and go towards only good habits on the clarinet. Thank you so much for listening, and see you next time. Bye-bye.